Hey guys, welcome back to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we got Erik Wright from Social House Real Estate Group. You're listening to the Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way. And today we're going to learn about him in real estate and how he got started and where he's at today. So Erik, way back when, way before you got into real estate, what did you actually, when you were growing up, what did you actually want to be?
Yeah, I can say with 100% honesty, I never in a million years thought I'd be a real estate agent. Never had any aspiration to do it. However, when I was growing up, I was played a lot of sports, played football, baseball, and basketball growing up my whole life. So always had that dream to go play professional sports, and ended up playing college ball, but obviously never was good enough to make it to the next level. So once I had that realization, my goal was more so to go the consulting route. Actually, I went to college at Medina University. I was studying for my GMAT. I was going to go back and get my MBA, and the dream was to go work at one of the big three at BCG, McKinsey, or Bain, and go that direction. However, right when I was starting to apply and study for my GMAT, that's when I kind of came across real estate. And, here we are again. Even when I got into real estate, didn't think it'd be a full-time gig, just thought it'd be a little side hustle. And, life's full of surprises.
I know. When did you actually start into real estate? Like what age did you start?
I think I was 24, about to be 25. It was late 2014, I believe. So this will be my seventh year in the business. 2021 will be. So yeah, I
Wow.
was 24 years old when I really got into it, and then didn't start doing it full time until I was 26.
Awesome.
So it's my fifth year full time in real estate.
Wow.
When you first got into it, did you know anybody in the real estate business at the time?
Not really. I mean, I think everybody knows somebody in real estate. So I had a couple buddies that were in it. One of my buddies that I grew up playing some basketball with, he was doing it for about a year and a half or so, and saw him doing well. So I was intrigued enough. Obviously that kind of supported the idea a little bit more, seeing him do well, and just kind of reinforced my idea to really start to pursue it and see what I could do with it.
Awesome.
Nice.
What was tell us about your first listing you ever got?
God, my first listing, definitely didn't know what the hell I was doing. It was it was a referral from a buddy that I grew up playing football with. And it was like a $90,000 house in Taylor, Michigan. And took photos with my iPhone, just threw it up on the MLS, didn't know that Taylor needed a C of O, like all this crazy stuff. It just ended up closing and got it sold. And the seller thankfully was nice and patient with me, because I surely did not know what I was doing. So, but yeah, I do remember that one vividly.
Yeah, I bet. You probably learned a lot from that one.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I look back on the photos and I was just like, wow, those were brutal. So, but surprisingly, that's the norm for norm for a lot of agents. But
Yeah.
thankfully, you guys came around.
Yep. It did. How long did it take you to get that first listing?
Not long. So when I first got into real estate, so I had this idea to build my business via Facebook, which is obviously now the forefront of our business model with Social House, with mine personally. But what I started to do when I first got into it is and this will probably make sense to people that realize I have like 3 Facebook pages.
Yeah.
So I created a brand new, just straight up Facebook page that you could add friends on. And I started to go on to all the local buy sell trade groups.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can actually view all the members. So I grew up in Plymouth Canton, so I wanted to do work in Plymouth Canton, went to the list of like 15,000 members and just started sending friend requests until Facebook yelled at me and banned me from the feature for 24 hours, and just did it over and over and over again. And then as soon as people would accept my friend request, I'd send them a quick message and just say, hey, my name's Erik Wright. I'm a local realtor. Let me know if you guys need anything. And I believe I actually added one of my friends that I grew up with, one of his parents or something, and sent them that message, not really putting the pieces together, not even realizing it was his mom. And she obviously had the connection to my buddy, and ended up putting me in touch with his seller. So that's how I got I got my first few leads like that. It's definitely not the most efficient way, nor do I recommend it, but that was what I was doing back when I had $0 in my bank account, and I had to get a little creative, before I started dumping a bunch of ad money into Facebook.
Yeah. Where did you learn that method at? Where did you learn that from anybody?
Not really. I taught myself. for the most part. I mean, I used to follow, and I'm sure you guys know who he is. I'm sure a lot of people know who Gary Vaynerchuk is, but I came across one of his keynote speeches. It was back in like 2012, 2013. It was a Inc. 100 keynote. And this is like this is back before anybody knew who Gary was. He was like just straight wine library. It was his only business model. And he had this keynote speech where he wasn't so much just talking about social media, but he was talking about attention. And like attention nowadays is the most valuable commodity in the world. You know, what are people looking at? What are they focusing on? What are they spending time doing? And he was giving examples like drive down the highway and look at 5 cars around you. Chances are 4 of them are looking at their phones. They're not looking at the road. They're sure as hell not looking at your billboards. You know, commercials nowadays have become almost obsolete with all these streaming platforms. And, you know, chances are if you're watching the news or a game or, you know, something on TV, the moment that a commercial comes on, you're doing one of a few things. You're looking at your phone, tablet, or computer. You're getting your kids something or you're getting yourself something, but you're not watching those commercials, you know, unless it's the Super Bowl, maybe. But I don't even watch those anymore. You know, so and he went on and on like a bunch of other examples. And so like this was long before real estate was even in the picture for me. But everything he was saying, I was studying business administration and marketing in school, and it just all made way too much sense for it not to, you know, be that next phase of where marketing was going. And this was pre-revenue for Facebook. This was just shortly after the acquisition of Instagram. Snapchat was still pretty much obsolete from like a general market perspective. So it was very early on. So, but yeah, I started doing a little consulting work, or not consulting work necessarily, but started helping some small tech companies in Detroit manage their social media and SEO, and you know, kind of got the skills that way, and just taught myself as I went.
Yeah, awesome. I know. I remember. I watched one of his videos too, and then I ended up getting one of his. I think it was like his first book he had out, and like I had to drive to Chicago, and I like read it like twice, and I was like, holy crap, I need to learn what this guy has. So
yeah, I've got a few of his books. Few books I've read in my life are a couple of his, and definitely good stuff. I can only listen to so much of him now. It's kind of redundant at this point, but you know, he knows what he's talking about. So, and he's really good at what he does. So anybody that's like not overly familiar with the power of social media and just brand and everything, like he's a great guy to start with.
Yeah, and since you're onto the talking about like the social media now, is that like the fastest way you know how to that you use right now to like sell houses?
Oh, absolutely. So I mean, back when, you know, when I think there's a big misconception as far as like, oh, you have to spend a bunch of money on Facebook to make it work and things like that. I mean, when I got into this, like I said, I was 24. I had 80K in student loan debt, had a $2,000 credit limit, and damn near no money. And so I started out, like I said, I started sending messages to people, and then started out spending $5 a day, $10 a day, and then just scaled it up over time. But it has always been the primary sole like focus from a marketing perspective with me. And it's, you know, the cool thing is it worked well for me, and which was great. However, you know, I'd much rather see it work for everybody and show that it's not just an anomaly. And that's kind of what we've been proving at Social House. In addition to like my old roommate, one of my good buddies, Matt Talbot, like he adopted the same strategy. His team's killing it. Like everybody that has completely adopted the strategy and trusted it, believed in it, and actually stayed consistent with it is, you know, making a name for themselves in the industry, which is really cool to see. But yeah, it's always been my strategy, and that's all I've ever done. I mean, I've never made a cold call. I've never used Zillow. I've never used Realtor.com. Never done direct mail. Never done billboards. Nothing like that.
Yeah, same here. I mean, I talked to a bunch of people this week, and I'm like, I've never cold called or anything. It pretty much that's kind of our same exact motto we've used for our business is just, I mean, Facebook is the way to go. Is pretty much what right now is what I did for the last couple of years. Kind of the same thing you did. Kind of learned it, and then was like, this works.
Right. Absolutely. And then once it works, I mean, one thing that Gary always said was like, if you figure out how to use social media effectively for the business, like for your business, you essentially have a cheat code. And so people that are still apprehensive and don't really go all in on it, like you're going to regret it. And so, I mean, I just have dumped all my money into Facebook on a monthly basis, continuing to increase my budget because I know it works. So it's like, if you know something works, why not go all in on it? You know? So, and that's what we've continued to do. And, you know, the results thankfully have followed suit. So.
Yeah. And you did mention that Social House. Do you want to tell us how that started?
Yeah. So I was previously with Rich Realty. It's a boutique company out in Plymouth. And Rich, who's the broker there, is actually still a partner with Social House. So he was a great resource for me, helped me a lot, kind of getting into the business and just learning the ropes, I guess, so to speak, from a real estate perspective. So I was working with them for the first 4 years that I was in the business. And back in 2018, I ended up selling myself 85 units, did I think 22 million in sales. And it was just kind of like I was doing everything. I was doing all the transaction coordination. I was doing 100% of the marketing management. I was doing all the show. I was literally doing everything front to back and working, 15, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, like had no life. And just kind of hit my capacity. I was like, there's no chance I could even do this for another year, let alone like grow. And so it just seemed like a logical next step to, I'm a huge brand guy. Like I love branding. That's my passion, like branding, marketing, business development. And so for me, as opposed to like, building a team or something along those lines, I wanted to have my own brand. I wanted to have my own company. And not just for the sake of building a team, but also I just wanted a new challenge. Another thing that wasn't going to be super easy. I didn't want to go work underneath another company like an EXP or KW. I'd rather just kind of learn the ropes myself and figure it out. That's what I've always done. And so lucky enough, I actually met my business partner, Yasmin, around that same time, like mid 2018. We actually did a deal together. She used to manage a team of like 30 agents over at Rocket Homes, Quicken Loans real estate company. And we did a deal together. She wasn't even supposed to be representing like sellers per se. Like she was the manager. So she just oversaw her team of agents. And ironically, one of her agents was like out sick or something that week. I can't remember the exact story, but so she had to take this one specific listing. And it just so happened that my buyers ended up buying it. It was kind of a messy deal. Like there was some hiccups along the way. And we just kind of vibed well. And she was a lot like me, really laid back. And we just got along well. And so I kind of plugged her. I was like, hey, I'm starting this company here pretty soon. I'd love to have you be a part of it. And she told me, no, thank you about 700 times. And I just kept bugging her. And eventually she, I guess I just, depleted her and she decided to come start it with me. So she left Rocket Homes and decided to come start the company with me. And, she basically runs the company. Like she's our COO. She's the one that helps with all the training, onboarding, essentially handles like the entire day to day. I just come up with ideas that work sometimes and she implements them.
That's awesome. I love that you said that you had to bug her to come on board with you.
Oh yeah, I still have some text messages saved, like where she was like, no, like multiple times.
That makes me want to interview her now, like get her story. What did he say? What did he do?
She'd be a better interview than me, probably. She's
oh no.
I highly recommend it. She's really good. She's amazing at what she does. So yeah, I highly recommend it. She's like the glue that holds it all together.
What do you see right now for like agents and like when they're starting? What do you see them trying to market, and then they kind of figure out like what do you think that they see right now when they start that they think they have to do, and then they switch to something else that works, like kind of like what you're doing. You didn't do any cold calls, didn't do any marketing, but do you think everybody's still getting taught that and think that works, and then they figure out what works?
So we've been like, we haven't really truly done any actual recruiting for Social House. Like I've never, I get emails all the time from brokers about, what they offer and stuff. Like we've never done any recruiting, which is kind of cool because we're up to, I think 25 agents now already. I've been interviewing 4 to 5 agents a week that are interested in learning more about us. And so it's been cool to see, but sorry, what was the question again? I just lost my train of thought.
Yeah, it's all good. I kind of went a rampage too. So yeah, when agents start out like,
oh
like
yeah,
new
no,
agents.
I remember what it was. Yeah, sorry about that. You can cut that part out. But but no. So like,
no, we gotta leave it.
Yeah. So no, like I talk about this when we're interviewing agents because there's I don't know what 2020 numbers were, but in 2019, I was looking at this early last year. There were just over 15,000 agents that sold a house in Southeast Michigan, right? And all 15,000 of those agents are essentially given the exact same strategy. So I know what KW does. I know what EXP does. I know what all these big brokers do. And if you go interview with them and you say they're really good at training when it comes to teaching you about real estate, they'll teach you about real estate. But the ironic part is you don't need to know a lot about real estate to be a good real estate agent. You need to know how to run a business. You need to know how to do marketing. You need to know how the most difficult part about being a realtor and why so many people fail is they don't know how to get clients. And all 15,000 of those agents are told to do the exact same thing. Go sit on the phones, make cold calls, call expired listings, call your sphere of influence, blah, 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 same thing over and over and over again. And so naturally, when you ask 15,000 people all within 30 miles of one another to do the exact same thing, a lot of them are going to fail. However, and that's what most agents do. And then that's why a lot of people, they just kind of get their license and they fizzle out after 2 years. Like I think it's something crazy, like 80+% of people fail in 2 years. And
That's
I think
big percentage.
Sadly, I think a lot of brokerages almost build their model around that, like that expectation of, okay, they're going to come here for 2 years. We're going to get out of them what we can. They're going to leave, but then we're going to backfill them with more and backfill them with more. And it's worked. So it's like, why change it? Whereas for me, and another reason why I wanted to just stay independent is like, I wouldn't be proud of that business model. Like I want people to come in and succeed and do well. And so what we give agents and what we tell agents is, it doesn't matter how much money you have. Like you can start out, like I said, like I did with $10 a day, but we've proven this strategy works. So if you actually implement it, and the biggest thing is, and this is like, I guess, quote unquote, the secret is just consistency. Like I tell our agents this every single day. It doesn't matter if you spend $1,000 a day or $1 a day. If you're running ads 1 week on, 1 week off and super inconsistent, it's going to take 10 times longer for you to gain any traction than if you were to just spend $5 a day every single day for a year straight. So it's really all about consistency because people nowadays just have such a short-term memory. You know, they could see Brad's ad for 6 months straight. And then that 1 week you take off is when they're actually ready to buy or sell a house. And they see my ad instead, and they're going to call me, you know? So it's like, but if you just never let go, you never let up and you never stop running those ads over time, you're going to build that subconscious brand awareness for people where they're going to hit you up even without even thinking about it. They're going to be like, how the hell do I know who Erik is? And it's because they haven't been able to avoid me on social media for the last 3 years, you know? So, yeah. So, I mean, I tell my agents, like, by all means, like, you know, real estate, you're only as busy as you can be, if that makes sense. Like, you know, you can't just go in and work 70 hours. There's not necessarily enough stuff for you to do right off the jump, especially with the social media strategy. It does take time to build up. However, you know, I tell my agents, like, hey, if you want to go make cold calls, do it. It obviously works. I don't think the margins are nearly as high. You know, from a time perspective, I don't think the return's quite what it should be, and the efficiency isn't. But by all means, if you have 5 extra hours in the day where you're just not doing anything, and then the alternative is go watch Netflix or just, you know, relax, like, yeah, pick up the phone. I mean, you know, it obviously works. A lot of these big time, like super successful agents have done that for years. And I'm not saying that doesn't work. I'm just saying if you have X amount of dollars to spend or X amount of hours in the day, Facebook and social media should be the first place it goes. And anything left over, once you've totally depleted that or maxed that out, which there's not really a max, you know, that's when go tap into some other avenues.
Oh yeah, definitely. I can definitely tell when you, because I know I see your stuff all the time, and I can definitely tell when you when there's more listings coming. I can always tell right when I'm like, oh, we're gonna get a listing next week.
Yeah, sometimes I need some little mental health breaks where I just stop running ads for a week. But I think I told you that I only had like 2 closings in October last year because I just didn't work in September.
Yeah, hey, you got to take a break sometime. I mean, you can't just work all the time. But I know some days I'm looking and I'm like, oh, Erik's doing lots of posting. Here we go. And I can tell it works all the time because every time I see you do it, it's just like right there. I just can see listings come in every single time. So I know it works. I see it all the time, especially just watching your stuff. So awesome. Well, Taylor, what else you got?
If you were to give a new real estate agent just one piece of advice, what would it be?
I mean, I already said the consistency piece, so I won't be redundant, but I mean, honestly, no matter whether you're a real estate agent, whether you're a plumber, or no matter what you're doing professionally or just in life in general, like you just need to work your ass off. Like, I think there's this big misconception about real estate where it's like, oh, you get into real estate and there's a money tree and it all falls in your lap. Whereas absolutely not the case. Like, you know, I worked 100 hours a week for 5+ years straight, you know, nonstop to kind of get to I mean, I'm not even where I want to be yet, but like to get to where I'm at now, like I worked my ass off. Like with a certain high level of certainty, I guarantee you there's not many people that have worked harder than me the last 5 years. You know, I don't say that to be like conceited or anything, but I just know the work that I put in. That's really the secret. Like, if you work harder than everyone else consistently, no matter what it is you're doing, no matter what it is you're trying to build or create, like, you will be successful. Like, I guarantee you. The problem is most people, after everybody has their own threshold, but most people quit just a little bit too soon. You know, whether it's Facebook ads, whether it's a business you're trying to start, whether it's real estate, no matter what it is, when you're trying to do something even remotely entrepreneurial, most people fail because they just stopped a little bit too soon. You know, just got a little bit too discouraged, didn't have the, you know, thick enough skin, or, you know, sometimes there's ulterior, like, outside factors that can play into it. Obviously they're uncontrollable, but a lot of times they just give up a little too fast.
Yeah, so true, so true. Okay, so you have to have some kind of spare time, at least somewhere in there. What thing would you like to do in maybe some spare time you have?
I don't have much, but I mean, pre-COVID, I love music, so used to go to concerts quite a bit, like 20 to 25 a year. I made quite a bit of time for those. Yeah, I love music. That's my passion. I guess I'm not musically inclined at all. Can't play instruments and cannot sing, but I like it nonetheless. But other than that, I mean, I travel a fair amount. Like, I have a condo in Dallas, so I go down there quite a bit. If nothing else, just to get out of Michigan for a little while. But we actually just, one of my best friends and I, we just started another company down there. So just more so just give me a reason to be productive while I'm there. But yeah, just travel, I guess. And I've never been out of the country aside from Canada. So that's on the near-term bucket list. I've never actually taken a vacation, believe it or not, like a true vacation where I just go sit on the beach and my phone isn't ringing every 5 minutes. So, so that's definitely something I'd like to do eventually once I almost have the team where it needs to be up here. But yeah, just travel, a little bit of golf, and then music.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. What one piece of advice would you give yourself before, like, when you were like 18? Would you start real estate then, or would you went to do the college stuff because you learned all that stuff and then needed that to go into real estate? What would you tell yourself if you were 18 again?
So I honestly, I would like to I would like to have had a better work ethic at a younger age. I don't think I'd change anything because I like where I'm at. Like, I don't think I would have. I think by all means, like, I wouldn't say that I learned much in college, but that's probably partially my fault. I wasn't the best, like, student. I didn't pay attention. But I wouldn't say I necessarily, like, the substance of what I learned in college was helpful. However, when I was in college, I was playing college baseball, I was working, and I was going to school. So, and this is kind of my view just on education in general. A lot of times it's not what you're learning, it's the habits you're building and, like, the discipline that you're creating and the time management that you're learning, you know, like, and also just kind of getting that gratification of, okay, you know, I studied really hard, I got an A, like, you know, that just kind of that return on your time investment. But yeah, I mean, I would have just tried to instill a better work ethic, probably going back all the way to when I was like 14. You know, I was naturally, at least for baseball, like, I was decent at baseball. So I didn't really have to work that hard. However, had I have worked hard, I probably wouldn't have got hurt my senior year, and, you know, probably would have been even better, or a lot better, and whatnot. So I think that's the biggest thing. Just trying to, I mean, it's hard to motivate kids nowadays. You know, I have a 20-year-old brother, and, like, you know, I've offered to buy the kid a car if he gets a 4.0 and still gets a 3.2, you know, love the kid to death, super smart kid, but it's like, it's hard to motivate kids that are, you know, that aren't making money yet, because everything's already at their disposal. They already have everything at their fingertips with their phones and computers and everything. And so to be able to tell a kid, like, hey, go do this, and this will be the end result in 10 years or 5 years or even a year, is kind of difficult to comprehend. But yeah, I guess that would probably be the biggest thing. Just try to get myself to be a little more disciplined, work a little harder, and have my priorities a little bit different.
Awesome. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. What is one of the most memorable things you've had, you've either seen or memorable experiences in real estate?
Good or
in
bad?
Real estate.
Yeah, good or bad.
Let me think. I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one. I mean, I don't really have anything that, like, jumps out at me. I guess it was pretty cool. Like, shout out to like Tara, over at Real Producers. Like that, it was pretty cool being on the cover of that magazine. I guess I would say that was like one of the cooler, more memorable like accomplishments, I guess. But I mean, other than that, I mean, I don't really. I mean, I'm personally not like overly proud. I like what I've done so far, but I think my goals are far beyond what I've done at this point. So I don't think I've really had like that most memorable moment quite yet. Outside of the few like little accomplishments, but I feel like I've just had my head down for the last 6 years and just kind of keep to myself and just do what I do, and just trying to build this and grow this company. So I guess starting Social House was a cool, memorable accomplishment, and like being able to start it with such a good team. Forgot about that part. So yeah, I'll throw
that's a big
that
one.
and that and the real producers part. Were probably the two most memorable things.
Yeah, because didn't the Real Producers one happen like right around the time you were starting it? And I didn't. Wasn't that right around the time you started Social House?
Yeah,
When
we
you were
started
on there
Social
too?
House in January 2019, and the Real Producer. I was on the cover of the first Real Producers Wayne County issue in April 2019. So yeah, it was
Yeah,
good
I thought it
timing
was the
for
first.
like the launch of that,
Yeah, I
and
thought it
then
was the
COVID
first
had.
one. I was gonna say that.
Hmm Yeah, it was their first Wayne County one. I think they already had Oakland County,
Yeah.
but
Awesome. Well, that's exciting. Okay, so we need to know one of your most ridiculous facts you know.
yeah, actually, I had to like Google some random facts for this one. But I did read I did read something that kind of made me think, and just like with us in real estate, like just the way our lifestyles are. I read something that the average person spends 6 months stopped at red lights, and I was
Wow.
thinking for us, it's probably damn near double that.
6 months?
So yeah, so I thought that was kind of interesting and also kind of depressing,
Yeah, that's a
but
long time.
not
I
to
mean,
dampen the mood. But I was like, real estate agents are probably spending minimum twice that. So like almost a
Yeah.
year of your life is spent sitting at a red light. Kind of crazy to think about. Not sure on the source there, so don't quote me on this, but that was just a quick Google search. But it seemed credible.
Hey, we'll go with it. We'll go with it.
I have one that's kind of a random fact about you personally. What's something that people don't know about you?
Ooh, it's a good one. I'm not that interesting of a person, honestly. Um, I mean, uh, I'll just go ahead and plug a nonprofit we just started. I did just start a nonprofit. I don't think many people know
Okay.
about that. We're finalizing some of the 501c3 stuff right now, but me and myself and then six of my really good friends are all on the board. We started this nonprofit called Project Promise, and the goal behind that is to essentially just very simplistic, just provide school supplies and resources to parents, teachers, students, underprivileged, inner city, really just anyone in need. I did it 2 years ago, just kind of on my own. I was just walking through Target and saw all the school supplies, and I was like, I should go help out 10 families or whatever. And I'm always trying to find some way to give back, but I post something on Facebook, and I was like, hey, I want to provide school supplies to 10 families or kids in need or whatever. And it turned into 85 families like overnight, and went and basically cleared out Target and pissed off all the moms, and ended up buying all this stuff. And it really, at the end of the day, it was only like, 10, $12 a kid. And to buy all this stuff. And I could have made it far more efficient had I planned better and like done it all on Amazon, bought in bulk, etc. But point of that is like I just saw how easy it was to make like a really big difference, and wanted to like scale it. And I know, believe it or not, in the state of Michigan, I'm sure it's way all over the country, it's not easy to help people. Not as easy as it should be. Like you have to be a licensed 501c3 to do raffles and giveaways and raise money and all this stuff. So just had the idea to make it official, I guess, and kind of just carry that same theme, and start a nonprofit. And luckily I have a great group of friends, and we put together a really good team for our board of directors, and we're going to be launching that hopefully before the end of this or before the start of the next school year.
Oh, nice.
Ideally by like June we'll have our 501c declaration and be able to plan our first event. So yeah, that's one thing we're starting right now.
Well, that's
That's
super exciting.
awesome.
Where does somebody go and find that? Do you have a website?
Nowhere yet. We're still still working on all the branding, working on the logo, working on the website. We actually just like officially formed the entity. We have a law firm doing it all pro bono for us, which is nice. So we just formed the entity not too long ago. So now we're working with our designers and stuff to put together the website, put together all the graphics and everything like that. So I'll keep you guys posted on that. Hopefully by midsummer or something, everything will be launched official and we can start raising some money.
Sweet. That'll be super
Yeah,
exciting.
let us know.
Yeah, it'll be fun.
Awesome. Okay, we got the last question. We don't give you this question. Okay, we need to know, is a hot dog a sandwich?
I would say so, right?
Why not? Why not? We don't know. We just wanted to know. So
I mean, is
anyways.
a wrap a sandwich?
Do you
I don't
think
know.
so?
Wouldn't they be in the same category?
I guess so. We don't know. We just ask everybody. We're going to find out soon enough. But
Anyways, that would be a good random fact if you guys figure that out. Because I don't know.
Is there anything else you want to share with everyone before we go?
No, I appreciate y'all having me on.
Yep. Thanks for having on. And for everybody listening, if you guys want to subscribe, and we'll talk to you guys later.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Are these working?
All right.
Here we go.
Oh, there we go. I think they're working. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. What do we got to point at it? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like
It might be there.
might be right there too.
Somewhere.
Somewhere.
Find it. It's red.
Yeah. And it's
Red.
blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess,
I wonder if they can hear us.
yeah. I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review if they listen to on Apple. That'd be cool.
5
5-star
stars,
review.
guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take
But-
4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
No, I don't think this is working.
This is not working.
Yeah.